Hello, it's a real privilege to be with you again. I'd like to take just a few minutes today to talk about the 144,000 that we find in Revelation chapter 7. Of course, this is a number that's been thrown around by different groups, and one of them primarily would be the Jehovah's Witness, who claim to be part of the 144,000 who are sealed upon the earth. But actually, there's absolutely no biblical grounds for that. What we find out as we read about these 144,000, that these are taken from the 12 tribes of Israel. So let me just read part of that in Revelation chapter 7, verse 2. I saw another angel ascending from the rising of the sun, holding the seal of the living God, and he called out with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was granted to harm the earth and the sea, saying, do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees, until we have sealed the bondservants of our God on their foreheads. And I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000. And then it goes on to name those 12 tribes. So what the Lord is doing here is he's saying before judgment is released upon the earth. And let me remind all of us right now that one of the reasons why I believe that the church is caught up before the unleashing of the judgments of God upon the earth is that the Lord protects his people. And so as we're looking at this passage right here, God is choosing 12,000 people out of the 12 tribes of Israel. You know, the 12 tribes of Israel, well, for the most part, they've been scattered around the world. We know that the tribe of Judah went into Babylon and it was restored to Israel. But God still knows who those Jews are. And he's gonna set apart 12,000 from each tribe. And what is going to be their mission? Well, as they are sealed by the angel of the Lord on their forehead, which is, you know, the Antichrist is going to seal his people on the forehead with the mark of the beast. Angels will seal them on their forehead and they'll be protected from judgment. Why? Because they're going to share the gospel of Jesus Christ and who he is. You know, it just amazes me when I think about the fact that the Bible, the teachings of the Old Testament prophets, Matthew chapter 28, the words of Jesus, Matthew 24, all of these passages in the book of Revelation are going to be so popular because everyone's going to realize there are unfolding events. So God's going to have 144,000 Jews who have received the revelation of Jesus Christ, and they're going to go out there and preach. That's an amazingly beautiful story. And what's really beautiful about it as well is that they will not feel the effects of the judgments or the death that's poured out upon the earth because God protects his own. And that's a good reminder to all of us, isn't it? That God is the one who protects us. And that if we serve the Lord and if we are lining up with him and we're on his side, that we know that my life is safe in God's hands. No one can take my life until, I'm called home by God. Wasn't that true of Jesus? They couldn't take his life until God said, now's the time. It's the same thing for you and I. It was the same for the 144,000. God protects those who are walking in his mission until it's time for us to go home. Let me just mention as an aside here that there are two tribes, the tribe of Dan and Ephraim, are not named as being sealed. And the reason that is because they had set up golden calves of worship and caused the nation of Israel to stumble. And God said in Deuteronomy 29, the Lord will single out any tribe or person for disaster in accordance with all the curses of the covenant, which is written in the book of the law, for anybody who introduced idolatry to the nation of Israel. This is a solemn warning for me right now. I'm so glad that I can be forgiven for my sins, but you know, when I break covenant, like those tribes that were followers of the Lord did, you know, they still had to face some of the consequences, even though it's going to happen thousands of years later. It's a good warning to all of us, man. Every act of obedience is an opportunity for us to release the blessing of the Lord. When we disobey the Lord, we introduce an opportunity for trouble to come into our lives. So we don't want to do that. So let's remind ourselves, 144,000 are the picture of the faithfulness of God to protect his people that are serving him.